No, it
Okay.
well, it shut off.
It's recording now. I'm going to take her and run because I don't want to be in the background.
All right, Dennis, it's recording now. So, good evening, Metal from Metal Universe. Welcome to the first edition of Table of Metal. I'm really excited to do this. Our guests that we have on the show for this tonight are, I'm going to start with my right here, Mr. Dylan from Derpot. The guitarist from Derpot. You guys actually have a single coming out soon, don't you?
Yes, sir.
I didn't ask him to plug this in. I'm plugging it in.
I know. I appreciate that.
Serpent King, right?
Serpent King, yeah, July 27th. So
July 27th?
a week from today. I don't know when this is coming out.
It'll air soon.
All right, cool.
Over here is Edward from We As a Species, awesome metal band from Colombia. Really good shit. Over here, Mr. Taylor from Hearts on Fire, been on the show before.
Hello, yes.
Again, one of my best moments on the show is when you're talking about the Metallica bass player and how Jason and Chad just couldn't get the question right. And a really good friend of the Metal from Metal Universe, Frank O'Donnell, the former drummer for the Gutter Saints. Love this man to death. So
I'm former lots of stuff.
Former lots of stuff, that's true.
Soon I'll be a former human being.
Yeah, that's true, that's true. All right, guys, we're going to get right into it. We've got a lot to talk about. Our first topic for this table of metal, if I didn't mention it, is Black Sabbath. We're going to talk about the history of Black Sabbath, its legacy on today's metal scene, and so on and so forth. So, as we get started, Frank, I'm going to start with you. When you think of Black Sabbath, first thing that comes to your mind? Their first record.
Well, lots of things, actually. Sabbath Bloody Sabbath was the first one I got. I told you that story.
Yeah, and that's actually the first record that I bought after I had a turntable, which is nice.
Yeah.
I found it at a flea market.
Yeah,
I found that and Screaming for Vengeance, actually.
That was another one of my first ones back in the day. Yeah, but I told you the story how I was at a carnival and we were throwing darts.
That's right.
With iron-on patches.
Yeah.
If anyone remembers those from the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
And I got Black Sabbath, landed right between Skinner and Sabbath, so I figured if I got iron-on, I got to get the record.
Yeah.
So it was a Sabbath
Sabbath
white on a gray T-shirt.
Probably my favorite Sabbath record. Taylor, first thing that comes to mind when you can think of Sabbath.
Probably teenager learning how to play guitar and learning a bunch of stuff.
Hell yeah.
One of the very first songs I ever learned how to play on guitar was Iron Man.
That riff, though.
That, for some reason, that
carries over.
That comes to mind for me more as just a musician learning their shit. And I don't know.
I can understand that. Edward, first thing?
Pretty much the same thing, although I kind of retroactively discovered Black Sabbath through Ozzy, you know.
Sure.
Because I was kind of a latecomer to the whole metal kind of community. I like the hard rock and System of a Down and that stuff growing up, so it was kind of rediscovery through just progressing to regress through time, I guess. You know?
So you heard Ozzy, and then you realized that he used to sing for a band called Black Sabbath. I know that
stuff out.
Yeah, no, I can understand that. Dylan, what about you? Sabbath?
Sabbath. When I first got into Sabbath, it was like one of the first metal albums I got into. I got Paranoid for Christmas when I was like 12 or 13. Got real into it when I was playing guitar, and then I'm like half big, as it goes.
So you were learning Iron Man, not at the same time, but I guess telepathically with Taylor, because that's when he was same stages of his life. Yeah. Well, guys, let's get to the history of Sabbath here. Formed in 1968 with the original members of Tony Iommi, Bill Ward, Geezer Butler, Ozzy Osbourne. They were a polka blues band, I believe, when they first started in '68.
They'll tell you that, yeah.
Yeah, and then they reformed.
The name was something like that. I can't remember.
It was something polka blues, something like that.
Oh yeah.
And
he'd tell you.
And then they reformed to create the band Earth, which they broke up, reformed in '69 to make Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
And now this is all research that I've done from books of all four members, plus forums and all this, but he will probably correct me if any I'm wrong, so that's why he's here. The first single, Evil Woman, it was January 1970, which is actually on the CD here that you have.
It might have been 69.
It might have been 69.
It might have been 69 when Evil Woman came out. I want to say that came out in the UK in 1969.
That came out in 70.
Well,
didn't it drop?
Yeah, didn't it drop? Yeah. It may have dropped in the UK 69 and then reached the US 70. Yeah, that might have happened. Yeah. Either way, the first single, Evil Woman, the first record, Black Sabbath came out, Friday the 13th, here, February 1970. Now, we already talked about when you think of Sabbath, you think of the first record. What did you think when you first heard? I mean, the rain and the dun, dun, like what was in your head?
First thing is the album cover, and like growing up on old Hammer Horror stuff from England, watching Creature Double Feature when I was a kid.
Yeah.
All those great colored English movies from the 60s with Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing. That reminded me of that, watching that when I was a little kid. So you have to get that, the name and the picture and the song titles. That's the first thing that got me, even with the Sabbath on it.
But that album cover is fantastic. By the way, a myth that I want to squash is that is not Ozzy Osbourne on the cover. A lot of people would think that that's Ozzy, and that's totally not Ozzy at all. Taylor, your first thoughts when you were listening to this record?
Well, I got a confessional here a little bit.
Take this down.
I might be here offering a little bit of a counterpoint. Teenage Taylor loved Black Sabbath. Adult Taylor doesn't care for Black Sabbath.
Doesn't care for Black Sabbath?
No, and I wasn't going to spill that until we got started.
No.
You might have thrown me out.
You're not wrong. I mean,
but my first impression of hearing them, I mean, I was blown away.
Yeah. We're going to get to why you don't think they're...
And I have a justification.
Okay.
And I think I have.
Because one of the questions at the end of this segment is going to be: does this first record hold up to heavier heavy metal records, and is it still considered heavy metal to this day? That's a question we're going to get to at the very end.
I'm going to wait on that.
We're going to wait. We're going to get there. We're going to start.
My initial impression as 13, 14 years old, growing up, listening to my mom's Elton John records, and or whatever was on the radio. Nonsense.
Yeah, you got tired of Goodbye Yellow Brick Road.
I got tired of that. I got tired of whatever Paul Abdul was on the radio and whatever was going on in the '80s. And then this was actually the first album I heard, and I was blown away.
So you didn't hear this until the '80s, then?
No, it was early '90s.
Okay.
I think.
So you were blown away when I first
heard it. Yeah, it wasn't. Okay. It wasn't like the metal I knew. It wasn't like the metal that I saw on like MTV. And
sure. Yeah.
I mean, 2 decades removed is
Sure. Yeah.
Which my idea of metal at the time, I guess, was more like hair metal, kind of.
Sure.
Like
sure.
Whatever was going on.
Poison and rap.
Yeah. That Death
I get it.
Record and that kind of shit. But when I heard this, I was like, it's sludgy, it's slow, it's dark.
It is very dark. That's one of the things that
heard this before.
That's one of the things that really drove me to it. Edward, first impressions when you can think of you heard Black Sabbath for the first time.
I think the first impression I ever heard was just NIB, like that song.
That shit, that's a tasty fucking bass riff for real.
And the thing was, like I'd grown up pretty much just in a Christian household, and
here we go.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, my father would listen to like stuff like Hall and Oates and Tom Petty and all.
You're not coming on the show to bash Hall and Oates, sir.
No.
Or else you can pack your bags and go. I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Stuff at the wider fair.
Sure. Yeah. No, I'm with you.
And so, I basically I got a keyboard at like the age of 5, started learning how to play music, and I raised in the '90s, learned all the poppy stuff.
Sure.
And this stuff comes along as well as like the heavier kind of rock at the same time, and that's just like, this heavy guitar, and it just reached out, grabbed it, like I want to do that.
Yeah, good. That's a huge influence for you as a bass player, hearing NIB, because that is a killer fucking.
And just there's a slight rebellion. It's like, okay, we're going to church on Sundays and blah blah blah. It's like, okay, well I'm gonna pull up my little Walkman, little cassette player.
My name is Lucifer.
Just on the way to church. It's like just a little bit of just young rebellion there. So really, that's
I can understand that. Dylan, you're coming from a very Iommi influenced guitar style. So talk to me when you first heard this record.
So for this record specifically, I didn't get deep into Sabbath until I was doing Derpot stuff. And Jordan put me on. The first time I heard a song off this, it was the whole Behind the Wall of Sleep into NIB. So it was. I was just like, woo. That whole thing is just like ups and downs, super powerful. I love it.
Yeah, it is a really powerful record. I can't wait to ask Taylor why he doesn't like it now, but we're going to get to it. But first we're going to get to their second record, which is Paranoid, drops in September 18th, 1970. I guess these must be all U.S. states that I've looked up from different books that I've read. But either way, it might have jumped under.
Or the United States.
Yeah, this is America. They may have dropped a different date in the UK, obviously where they're from, but we're going by U.S. states because this is America. But September 18, 1970, Paranoid drops. I'm going to start with you again, Frank, because you don't like Paranoid, right?
It's my second least favorite Black Sabbath album. Looking at all of them.
Right.
Considering some of the album covers it had, I have to say it's my least favorite. I think it's a really stupid album cover.
Yeah, I remember laughing when you told me that, and looking back at it, I mean,
Pirate on there?
yeah.
It was going to be called War Pigs, and that's why that is. But even if it was called War Pigs, it's still a stupid album cover.
You don't like correct me if I'm wrong, but you don't like the record because you thought the songs were too radio friendly. Is that what you were saying?
No, I don't like Iron Man. I never have. I really don't like songs where the vocal melody completely follows the guitar line. It's
Sure.
the easiest thing to do in the world. And I just think that's a stupid song one way or the other.
Taylor, you have something to say?
That's most of their stuff.
Well, Geezer was good at writing. Ozzy never wrote anything. We'll get to that later. Ozzy Osbourne is not a fucking songwriter. He'll tell you different, but he never wrote a goddamn lyric.
Sure.
He wrote Who Are You? He wrote the keyboard riff. That's it.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
what
he did.
That's
Yeah.
all he did.
That's right, he did. I forgot about
I
that.
want to say he helped write Black Sabbath.
If he helped write Black Sabbath,
With Geezer Butler, obviously.
Yeah.
If you wrote Black Sabbath, it would be like, why don't you say this instead of this? Like, you know, it'd be like a word.
They sat down and wrote it out.
Actually,
maybe, but that makes two.
Right, yeah,
He
no,
didn't
I
do shit.
Edward?
if I'm not mistaken, I think that's one of the reasons why Sharon basically, Geezer was writing all the lyrics, they were writing all the stuff. It was a big deal back in the day, I think, for music to be written before the lyrics, if I'm not mistaken.
I can kind of agree with that. That was something a little.
Well, Sharon wasn't around at that point. She didn't come until later. But
Yeah.
I mean,
I think
because Ozzy couldn't write,
Yeah.
Geezer did it
Yeah.
and stuff like that. When
Yeah.
he was doing, Geezer didn't have to do it anymore. But he wrote all the lyrics.
But if you look at like their album covers, I don't know if this one says it. It should say all songs by. Okay, this one doesn't. But some records that you'll see will say all songs by Black Sabbath. It doesn't say just Geezer Butler.
Right,
But we
yeah,
all
yeah.
know Geezer Butler.
We found out in Ozzy's solo career that what his deal
Exactly,
was
yeah.
as far as right. Yeah, they did say all songs by Black Sabbath, but the Ramones did that, the Beatles did that.
Exactly,
They
yeah.
did that first.
Well, let's move on to their third record, Master Reality, drops July 21st, 1971. My second favorite record, Master Reality. Big fan of this fucking record. Dylan, what can you tell me about Master Reality?
Master Reality. That's probably one of my top. That's probably top like number 3 favorite if I had to.
That's Rat Salad, Embryo, Children
Rat
of the Grave.
Salad's off Paranoid.
Rat Salad's off Paranoid. So,
Sweet Leaf.
Sweet Leaf, that's right. Sweet Leaf, Embryo,
After Forever.
Children of the Grave, After
Yeah.
Forever, that one's good. Into the Void is on,
Into
which
the
is
Void,
great.
yes,
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's one of my ultimate heavy riffs.
We jammed to that one day,
Yes,
out of
we did. It was
nowhere.
great.
Yeah, it was great.
That was great.
So Master Reality, I think, has
Yeah.
got some really good hits. Honestly, I think it's a little bit underrated,
Yeah,
in my opinion,
absolutely underrated.
as a Sabbath record. Edward, have you ever heard Master Reality? Did you get a chance?
can't say I did.
You probably heard hits off of it, like Children of the Grave and Into the
Yeah,
Void.
Sweet Leaf.
Is that something that you grabbed?
Same thing.
Yeah. Frank, Master Reality?
I think that's the album when they got back together. They played the most songs off of. So
Yeah.
I mean, that's a testament to that record, riff wise.
I
think
could-
it's fantastic. Lyrically,
Is Tomorrow's Dream on that record?
That's on volume
That's
4.
yes.
That's on Volume 4, which we're going to get to
Yeah, I
now.
love that. Master Reality is a great album cover.
Volume 4 is
Yes.
my favorite.
Volume 4, September 25th, 1972. I want to talk a little bit about, I think this is worth knowing. This record was actually produced by Tony Iommi and their manager at the time. They saw that they were getting taken advantage of by the production company, and they produced this one themselves. I think it's also worth noting that Bill Ward was also almost fired from the band for doing too much coke. He was,
There's
I guess...
a whole story about Coach
Well, isn't it that he was stuck in the room and he was just so high he couldn't do the drums on a certain song on Volume 4? That's what I was reading.
The funny thing about it, if they were going to kick Bill out, because actually Bill was the most alcoholic, drug-fueled guy in that band, considering it was a band with Ozzy Osbourne in it.
Sure.
But there's a
For real.
there's a credit in the album that says "Great thanks to the great Coca-Cola Company," and Coke is
Because from what I understand, and this is coming.
Supposed to be called Snowblind.
Yes,
Yeah.
but this is coming from straight out of I Am Ozzy, the autobiography, or biography rather, of Ozzy Osbourne. It might be autobiography. Anyway, quoted, most at this point, most of their budgets were going to cocaine.
Right.
None of it, hardly any of it was going to Volume 4. Now, I compare this to when you look at the record Peace Sells by Megadeth. it has been stated a lot of times that half of that budget, over half that budget, went to drugs, and that was a phenomenal record. Looking at this, would you also say that maybe you just have to, and they spent all their money on drugs and then realized that they didn't have a lot of money to do the record, so they fucking sped up and put out a great record. Do you think that maybe a band has to get fucked for a second and then realize, oh shit, I gotta work, and then something nice comes out of it?
Yes.
I mean,
I don't think it's so much as like a.
and I'm not saying specifically just drugs,
Yeah,
but I mean,
yeah.
I'm just using this as an example.
But
that's
no,
what
I
they
mean, just
did.
bands getting fucked in general. I don't think it's so much a thing that has to happen. It's something that will happen.
Okay, yeah.
Pretty much.
Okay, I can agree with that.
Even Don Henley said that people, when they're starting early, are better off doing drugs and alcohol.
Yeah,
Because your best stuff comes out that way. Obviously, it catches up with you in every way.
sure.
When you keep doing stuff like that, your album sucked, you suck, we suck. Happened with these guys.
Yeah.
So, but that's an excellent record. Another horrible album cover. Snow Blind Door Volume 4. And the funny thing is that there's a song in there called Cornucopia,
Yeah.
which Bill Ward admitted that was his hardest song to learn.
That's yeah.
So it's funny that he plays that well on that album. They were going to kick him out, but going back to NIV real quick, people think it's Nativity in Black or it's some kind of chord progression, but it's actually what Ozzy called Bill. He said he looked like a pine nib.
Beer.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
I never knew that. That's
And
awesome.
I think when they were doing that Volume 4 album or something like that, Bill told the story where Tony said, threatened to light him on fire.
That's right. Didn't he light him? Didn't they
He
used
did-
to light
he did
Bill
light
Ward
him
on
on
fire
fire.
and shit?
They
They
used to light him on fire.
used to tease him a lot and stuff, and he admitted that, later on he went back to Tony. Well, Tony said, Bill comes up to me afterwards and he says, later on in the night, he goes, you want to do it now? And Tony forgot. He said, what? He goes, you want to light me on fire? I don't know if they did or not, but
They probably did. Well, Bill said that they did, and it's all it's so funny. They're just like, I wonder why Bill didn't want to be back in the band, It's like,
Yeah,
but
he died if he went on tour with Sabbath.
well, he did. We're gonna get to that. Talking about the 13 tour and all that. How
Yeah,
Bill Ward wasn't on it. We'll talk about that. But let's move on to their fifth record, which is my favorite. I think your favorite as well, Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath.
it's not my second favorite.
Second favorite, December 1st, 1973. I think it's worth noting here too. They were good friends with Led Zeppelin at the time, and they actually jammed with John Bonham doing Sabracadabra. It was recorded, never released. Could you imagine if that was released?
Man.
A jam with John Bonham
I think
at
they
that
released it
time?
if they knew where it was.
Yes.
I guarantee
Yeah.
nobody
Yeah.
knows where that is.
It's
Yeah.
buried under mounds and mounds of cocaine.
Exactly.
Probably all you do.
Probably just the baggies.
Dylan, chat me up for a second. Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. What?
I fucking love Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. That's one or two. Like I'm dead tied between Master of Reality, Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, and Sabotage. Or Volume 4, Master of Reality, and
Dude,
Sabbath,
Sabbath,
Bloody
Sabbath is
Sabbath.
so good.
Sabotage
Fucking
shit.
the National Acrobat.
Yeah.
That is my shit.
National Acrobat, absolutely.
I love it. Are you guys familiar with this record as well, Sabbath, Bloody?
Vaguely.
Vaguely.
But it's a good fluff on there. It's a testament to Naomi. All his instrumentals. We're doing the Sunrise Fluff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's just brilliant at all that stuff.
Absolutely.
I can listen to that stuff.
Fucking composer, man, when it comes down to it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Usually you skip over short like acoustic. I think that makes my.
No, I love it. And just like Embryo too.
Embryo did
right
something
before.
great.
Yeah, it's good
When
shit.
somebody breaks out an acoustic guitar, it makes my skin crawl. Something horrible is about to come out, but he's just great.
Well, that's how I felt. We're gonna get off subject for a second. But that's what I felt when Maiden released Dance of Death, and there was the Journeyman. I say what I want, say what I want. And I was like, that's an acoustic. And I was like, I still love this though. It's so good,
It could have been a sea shanty, but it's not.
It could have, yeah. And and I remember they did the live concert in Dortmund, Germany, and just hearing Bruce go, Dorman, are you with me? I tell you what I want. It's so good. Anyway, I'm going to listen to that after this. But you mentioned Sabotage. Let's move on to Sabotage, their next record, July 28, 1975. That's a good record, too.
Sabotage that. I mean,
I'm not hugely familiar with it, but I do like the record.
You're the Symptom of the Universe.
Yes. I know the songs on
You
it.
can say that
but
almost like laid out fucking thrash metal right there.
Explain.
The
Oh, okay, yeah, I can see that.
or at least not laid out, but a lot of influence there.
Well, that was 75 was a lot of the time where a lot of the new wave British heavy metal was popping out. Because when did Rock and Roll come out? 74?
Around that time, yeah.
So maybe you're at yeah. Not that Judas Priest is thrash metal, but I'm saying like they were in that new wave British heavy metal.
pushing it.
Yeah.
It was all the same kind of like.
I can agree to that. I think I can agree
The
to
British
that.
stuff back then was ridiculous.
Dude, that's some of my favorite music. Angel Witch, Witchfinder General, Grim Reaper, Hell, Saxon.
That could be a whole show into itself.
Oh, yeah, it will be. It will, because New Wave British Heavy Metal is my shit. If I can get Lars Ulrich on the show to talk to me about it, because that's his shit too, apparently. But he would want money, and he want my Metallica fucking cassette tapes. But
So Metallica did a Homeless Guy from that album when they inducted Sabbath into Rock and Roll Hall.
that's right, they did, yeah.
And they did from Sabbath, what Sabbath, they did a Sabracadabra into.
Yeah.
Well, they did Sabracadabra off Garage Inc., right?
Yeah, but they did it into.
Anthrax did it.
No, Garage. Yeah.
Garage Inc., yeah.
I think Anthrax did that one too.
Garage? No, Anthrax did Sabbath Bloody. Well, I remember.
Oh yeah, they did.
There's a CD called Nativity in Black where it's got like Bruce Dickinson doing Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, and I was like, that is so good.
That's probably.
And then they have like Rob Zombie doing fucking. Well, it might be White Zombie, but either way, he's doing Children of the Grave.
Yeah.
And then Fake No More is doing War Pigs, and that's a good fucking CD. That's a nice little tribute CD.
The Sabotage, again, Megalomania and The Writ, just those two songs are close, side one and side two.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite albums ever. It's my favorite Sabbath album.
Yeah.
I love everything on that. That's one of the few albums I think that where they hit it on every song. And again, with the album cover, it could be a drinking game to figure out who looks worse on that album cover.
Sure.
The album cover is a fantastic idea. It's a great idea.
The mirror and all
Clothes
that.
are fucking ridiculous.
Who's wearing the pants? Who's got the tight?
There's two guys that aren't wearing
Bill
pants.
Ward's got the tight pants. He's not wearing those shoes.
You know, see,
And he's got leather
Dennis,
jacket
put this
and
album
no
cover
shirt.
up on the screen so everyone can see. Look at the pants, and then someone's wearing like.
Ozzy's wearing a dress.
Yes,
Not a dress,
that's what it
but- And he's got these big boots.
Yeah,
I think that's like some like Japanese wear.
Yeah,
I've heard
it's not
stories
kimono,
from
but it's
them.
something.
Yeah, they when they went on tour in Japan, they picked a bunch of crazy looking
Yeah,
clothes
yeah.
for.
Of course they did.
But Tony
So
Gizzard-
their money went to Coke, Japanese clothes, and then some music.
But you have Ozzy and Bill that look ridiculous, and then you can look at Tony and Geezer and go, they don't look much better. Just because like Tony's wearing like a sweater vest, and he's got that stupid haircut,
Yeah.
and Geezer's got a cane and a blue polka dot.
Yeah, I don't know what they were
It's-
thinking
it's,
there.
It's insane. And there's a song on the album called Am I Going Insane?
Yeah, am I
But it's a great album. cover, anyway.
insane?
Exactly.
Let's go to Technical Ecstasy, their next record, September 25th, 1976. A lot to talk about on this record, actually. It is said here that Sabbath is not sure of the musical direction in this record, and that it's just kind of all over the place. This is quoted from Iommi's book and Ozzy's book. It's also saying that Ozzy actually wanted to leave the band at this point, even had a Blizzard of Oz shirt printed at this time, which I don't know if it was true.
It is.
It is true.
It is,
I mean, it could have, you know.
He wanted to do solo stuff.
Sure,
But
sure.
He did leave the band, and he did form a band in England, and they got a guy named Dave Walker in from a band called Savoy Brown.
Okay.
And they actually recorded a song called Hard Road that was not the Hard Road that wound up on Never Say Die, but they went on a television show in England and played that song.
Was it Top of Pops?
It was on YouTube, and someone took it down so you can't see it, but you can hear a version of a rehearsal with Dave Walker on YouTube if you type in Black Sabbath
Okay.
Dave Walker.
So that is.
Ozzy did leave for a bit.
Is that in between 76 and like 78?
That's between Technical Ecstasy and
Never Say Die. Well, it's also said here too. I thought this was worth mentioning, so I thought it was funny. At the same time, Eagles are recording Hotel California, and I guess their studio is right next to Sabbath. Sabbath kept getting noise complaints from, I guess, whoever in the Eagles would come by. Can you turn that down? You know, we're trying to record. I thought that was really funny because you think of like you listen to the record Hotel California, which I think is still phenomenal. And you listen to that record and you think like, God, at the same time, Sabbath is recording a record like 2 feet away, and it's just like, you know, and you kind of want to see like, can you hear some Sabbath licks? Yes. And it's like, can you hear some Sabbath licks in the fucking, you know?
They should have turned it up to get Bill Ward's drums on the song Hotel California because Don Henley sounds like he's playing Tupperware.
yeah, I can agree. So then we go to the final record that Ozzy was on so far in this leg, and Never Say Die.
Love it.
Comes out September 28th. We're gonna get to that. September 28th, 1978. It's the last record with Ozzy until the 13th record in the early 2000s, but early 2000s rather. Is it true, Bill? I heard this, but I've also seen things that were contradicting it. Bill Ward actually sang "Swinging the Chain" because Ozzy didn't want to sing it.
Something like that.
Something like that. I heard Ozzy said that that's bullshit in the book that I was reading. Well, he didn't say it, but he didn't say this is bullshit, but it definitely wasn't mentioned. It just went past it.
Right. Right.
But looking at Bill Ward's interviews and looking at Bill Ward,
Speaking of Bill Ward singing, it's all right from Technical Ecstasy.
Yeah.
he did sing on that, didn't he?
That's a great song.
That's right, he did. I forgot about
Roses
that.
covered it on
Yeah.
their Live Air album. Very underrated song.
Yeah, they did.
It wasn't showing up that much, so you really shouldn't complain if someone else did stuff.
I could agree.
Yeah.
I think this is worth mentioning. At this time, at 78, they're touring with Van Halen, who hasn't even put out their first record yet, or might have just put out their first record. After Sabbath would do their sound checks, Van Halen would come out and play Sabbath songs as a tribute to Black Sabbath, and it would annoy Tony Iommi, and Tony Iommi would later say on that he was annoyed that these kids were playing his songs, and he thought they were making fun of him. But David Lee Roth would go on to say, no, we admired these guys, we loved the aura of Black Sabbath, we were just playing around and paying tribute. So I mean, I want to gauge the room. Why do you think Iommi was actually upset?
Because it was fucked up.
Honestly,
Honestly, they were a cover band. Van Halen, not that he would have known this then, and probably doesn't know it now. They were a cover band. They used to play Scorpions, Catch a Train.
Sure.
All the stuff that wound up.
That first record was like 40% covers.
Yeah, Ice Cream Man.
Man.
They did all that stuff.
Really got me.
And all the stuff that wound up on Diver Down, which is an excellent party album. If you want to have a party, put on Diver Down. All Pretty Woman and all that stuff. And,
Beautiful Girl. That's on Van Halen too, but yeah.
Yeah, that's
That's
great. Oh,
yeah.
No Good is on Van Halen too. That's a
Right,
great song.
exactly, yeah.
Every cover they did was really great. So I don't think Iommi knew anything about that kind of stuff. They could
Right.
whip out a Black Sabbath song if they wanted to.
I agree.
He's really
What do you think? You think he was in the right for being pissed off?
No, I can't imagine why Tony would have been, unless
They were fucking it up, I guess.
Well,
They probably played it better than they did.
Taylor's, I will agree with that.
Unless they were playing it really badly,
Yeah.
or they were playing it really well,
Yeah.
or they were a new band that no one knew shit about, and Tony didn't take them seriously. He's like, "Why are you playing our songs?"
Sure.
Maybe Tony took himself too seriously.
Which is very
But
possible.
maybe as he's like, "Who are these kids?" Maybe he did think they were making fun of him.
He would have been
Like,
serious.
"Oh, hey, here's your fucking song."
Here's your fucking song.
Yeah.
I picture Eddie looking at Tony the whole time.
Eddie's the one who
They were off, just gets in his face.
Like oh, this is easy kind of thing.
Yeah, no, I mean, I figure
planning
it
over.
had to have been.
Yeah, exactly.
It had to have been a misunderstanding. Because
I think so.
obviously Van Halen coming up would have been Black Sabbath fans.
I could agree to that.
Ozzy said that they blew him off. Ozzy said that Van Halen blew him off the stage, and that's when
Yeah.
he knew that they were passe and stuff like that. And there's a concert Black Sabbath for the 10th anniversary on the Never Say Die tour. There's a video I used to rent back when we rented videos of that tour. 10 songs, 2 of them from Technical Ecstasy. I have no fucking idea why. And if you watch Black Sabbath on that video, you can see why Van Halen was blowing him off the stage. It's not the greatest thing you're ever going to see.
I think they have some of that on YouTube.
They have a lot of it on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's not in order.
No,
If you
yeah,
watch it in
all
order,
these
it's like,
sound
all
like
Ozzy did.
So the Never Say Die, a lot of people think it's their worst record. Why do you think why do you enjoy it?
I think anybody who thinks that's their worst record and heard Technical Ecstasy has to go back and listen to that one. But Never Say Die, it's like a patchwork album that was done in a very hectic time, and it wound up being really good. People say it's too commercial sounding.
I don't think it's too commercial. I just don't think the songs are very good.
Well, they're not. It's weird because Swaying the Blade and Swaying the Chain and some of that stuff is like filler stuff. But I think like Never Say Die, Junior's Eyes, Johnny Blade.
Yeah.
Johnny Blade's good.
If half your album is really great, I think you have a great album. I think at least half that album is really strong stuff. It's not typical. It's not like Master Reality riffs.
Sure.
But the songs are awfully good.
Yeah,
So do you
that's
think that people were just so jaded with Black Sabbath shit that when this came
That's
out?
when the new wave of British heavy metal was coming out, and people looked at Sabbath and Zeppelin was in there like Into the Outdoor and Presence kind of thing.
Sure.
And people and the Stones were doing like Miss
Well, you like Presents too. Are you
I
just a
love
hipster, Frank?
Yes.
Because you like Presents.
I love Presence. Achilles' Last Stand is the greatest song.
I do love Achilles' Last Stand. I do love Achilles' Last Stand.
Jimmy Page worships Satan. That riff, that descending riff that he has,
Yeah.
is the evil fucking thing you'll ever hear in your
Yeah,
life.
but the album cover is kind of evil too. It's weirdly evil. It's like, I don't know.
You don't
it's
know
just-
what it is. That's exactly.
Yeah.
Is that the
maybe.
one where it has like the family on it?
Yeah.
The album, looking inside, that thing is all over.
Yeah.
I had a chance to buy one a long time ago. I should have bought one.
You did?
Yeah.
I saw like 2 or 3 of them at Monster Music last time I was there.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's how I knew it. I was like, what the hell is this? I looked at the labels, loved them. I was like, oh, okay.
See the Swan song. What's this doing on here?
Yeah.
But that album cover was supposed to be used for Rainbow's Difficult to Cure. Well, no, actually, Rainbow's Difficult to Cure was supposed to be the
But
album
to
cover
use,
everything down.
yeah, that's right, yeah.
Hypnosis was great. Album cover.
Well, you mentioned Rainbow. We're done with the Ozzy years for now. We're gonna get into something that not a lot of people are actually enjoy, but I fucking loved. First of all, is everyone all right? We go to the bathroom, or we? All right, cool. Let's do it. All right. Now, we're getting into the Dio years of Black Sabbath, which I really enjoy. People don't, and I don't know why. I mean, I will go down to my grave to saying that I prefer the Dio's singing over Ozzy's almost any day. I love Ozzy as the aura of Black Sabbath, but as a talented singer, I think there's no contest. I'm going to be probably, you guys are going to try and prove me wrong, and that's fine. That's why you're here. So let's move on to Heaven and Hell. Comes out April 25th, 1980. It's actually said that Sharon introduced Dio to...
she was a good manager.
So which was so funny, and they got together. From what I've been reading, Dio and Tony got together in a bar, some famous bar in the UK. It might have been the Rainbow, but either way, they were talking about starting a new band, but instead they just said, "Why don't you just come on and do Black Sabbath?"
I think if they had started a new band, it would have been, people would have liked it a lot more.
Yeah, do you think that was a misstep?
I don't.
I know your love for Dio is big, but had they rebranded?
I don't think so. And honestly, if they would have started a new band, we might not have gotten the solo Dio stuff.
The way that album came
together.
Because
if with the last Sabbath record, if people were say for lack of Patience was wearing thin, if they thought it was a piecemeal kind of record, if they had say like, all right, well, we're just gonna hit reset. It'll still be the three of us with a new singer.
With a new name.
New name.
I mean,
could it have been Legendary Band number 2?
It could have been. You're absolutely right.
I think it would have been, honestly.
Because I think maybe once Ozzy left, people stopped paying attention, especially after Blizzard came out.
I can agree to that. I will agree to that.
Ozzy left them in the fucking dust.
Yeah.
And then you have Black Sabbath.
And then Diary.
Or something.
Come on,
Diary of a Madman. That's good shit. I love Diary of a Madman. But going back to Sabbath, maybe they should have started a new band.
Just curious. I mean, if you would have been more successful.
I could see it going both ways. More successful, I don't know, because Dio was only with them for 2 records at that time until Dehumanizer in '92. So it could have gone both ways, to be honest with you. I could totally see it being successful though. Because Dio was just coming out of Rainbow.
Well, it was his idea to keep the Sabbath name. They were going to be a different band name, and he was the one that said, "Go with your strengths. If you have a name, use the name." And Bill Ward told the story that Tony came to him with the Rainbow Rising album and said, "What do you think of this singer?" So
it's fucking amazing.
And Tony tells different stories.
Goddamn, pal.
Okay. Tony tells different stories about it. So he came down to the rehearsal. They were living in L.A. and Bill and Geezer and Tony were jamming, and they wrote Children of the Sea right there.
Right. Did they finish Children of the Sea?
Well, they were playing music, and he went over.
That's right. Yeah.
Some lyrics and melodies, and they thought he wrote melody across the melody as opposed to Iron Man kind of stuff.
Sure.
And that's when they wanted to work with him, and actually Geezer split not long after that, and they got Craig Gruber. Craig Gruber was the original bassist for Elf with Dio, and he was in Rainbow.
Yes.
For the first album, and he was the one. He played with a pick, and he was the one that came up with the bass line Heaven and Hell. Geezer came in back in at the last second. Once all the songs were written, they sent him to Geezer, and he wanted to come back. So a lot of that stuff was done on demo with Craig Gruber.
Yeah.
And then they just kicked him out and got Geezer back. And Geezer.
Thanks for everything. Goodbye. Thanks.
All he was doing with his band, though.
Yeah. Going back to what you asked, Taylor. Now that I think about it, Dio wasn't very happy singing the Black Sabbath stuff, singing Iron Man, and
he said so.
And singing Iron Man and Paranoid. So maybe they would have lasted longer if they didn't go by Black Sabbath and didn't have to play those songs.
Right.
So I guess I can agree with you on that one. Now
Dio was as good as he wasn't going to get out from under Ozzy's shadow.
Right.
Not with Black Sabbath. Had it been another band, a new song.
Sure.
He did not with Black Sabbath, right?
Well, he did. Yeah, on his own, of course. But
he was so saddled with those. I mean, if you think about Ronnie Dio singing like Sabbath Blue Sabbath.
I think that would have been great.
He had to sing Paranoid, and he said, I was the one that had to go out there and sing Iron Man every fucking night.
Yeah.
And that was his bane, because there's so many Black Sabbath. He was great on Black Sabbath, the song. He sang NIV great. Yeah. The songs that suited him, he could sing well, and those songs suited him. but he had to sing on Paranoid.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
and he had to sing Iron Man, he had to sing War Pigs.
Yeah.
And you know, isn't there a story, which I always get this wrong when I talk about it, didn't Dio used to sneak into and change the set list? Or was that on the Mob Rules tour?
I never heard
It could have been on the Mob. That was what, like
I could have sworn, I would have bet my life I heard that from you. Maybe I heard that from someone else.
I know they all accused each other of sneaking in the remix live music.
Maybe that was something else. Maybe it was that.
Yeah.
It was that. Not the set list, they remixed Live Evil, okay. Either way.
I think Dio didn't even want Live Evil to come out or something.
Probably not, because he had to sing Sabbath.
Well, he helped produce it, but once they kicked him out, they put him and Vinny's name at the bottom, and they called him Ronnie Dio.
That's right. Let's talk about Live Evil for a second, because that album cover is great.
Fantastic.
The Neon Night on there. Let's talk. Well, we're going too fast. Let's go back to Heaven and Hell. Look at those fucking songs. Neon Nights, like that is some good shit. Children of the Sea, Lady Evil.
The way I see that, it's a whole different demon, you know? Sabbath's one demon, and then Sabbath with Dio is a whole other demon. It's like an evolution of Sabbath.
I think that, by the way, Anthrax covering Neon Nights still gives me goosebumps. But listening to that, the way the record starts out, you know, a lot of Sabbath songs starts out very intro, very slow.
Yeah.
You listen to Heaven and Hell, dun, 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 it just starts out with Neon Nights.
That was an afterthought too. They wrote that when the album was done. They said we need a rocker.
Yeah.
And they went to Miami to record, and they wrote that there.
God, man, it's so good. And then, of course, the title track, Heaven and Hell. I mean, it just screams Rainbow. Do you think listening to Heaven and Hell, Richie Blackmore missed Dio?
I think if you hear the outro to that song, which is amazing, that sort of classical little outro with the acoustic guitar, that reminds me a lot of Blackmore.
I can agree to that. What do you think? After Rainbow, do you think Blackmore missed Dio hearing the Heaven and Hell record?
He never would have did that.
He would never admit it because Blackmore's a prick. Are you familiar with the Rainbow shit after,
Not really, actually.
After, what was the last record he did with?
Long Live Rock and Roll.
Long Live Rock and Roll, that's what I was thinking. Then, when did that come out, 75? 36?
78.
78? I'm way off.
77,
So right after 78, that's when he goes and does that. But anyway, I think that Blackmore missed Dio here in Heaven and Hell. Even if he even fucking heard it, he was so pretentious he probably didn't even hear it, to be honest.
Well, he would have listened to it just because he was
doing a Rainbow thing. That now I read something in Guitar World or something about that. He's doing a Rainbow reboot tour or something.
Isn't he playing at a medieval festival or not medieval times festival? Didn't you tell me that? Someone told me that.
I hope so.
I'm pretty sure that's what he's doing, and it's like Blackmore's Night or something like that. I don't know who told me that.
Blackmore's Rainbow. I think that's what he's doing.
Blackmore's Night.
Whoever told me that, I know he's playing a medieval times thing because I looked that up after the person told me. I can't remember who told me, but whoever's watching this, if you told me, please comment. But I'm pretty sure it's what he's doing now. But if he's doing a Rainbow revival, I would go see that. Because I still love...
You wouldn't, because it's fucking horrible. He's been doing it for a couple years.
I didn't know that.
And it sounds, he's 70 now. He hasn't played electric guitar in probably 20 years.
Because he's playing medieval times.
Yeah, but they have a new song out that sounds just like Joe Lynn Turner kind of Rainbow. And but he's playing all the Dio stuff. So I think that's where it's hard.
Why would you not?
Well, but I mean, that's where his heart, even though he went commercial, eventually that's where his heart went, to the heavier stuff and the more medieval kind of stuff. And when he got back together with Stranger in the All in the 90s, he went back to that sort of Dio kind of thing. That was horrible too.
Let's move on to the second record that they did with Dio, Mob Rules, November 4th, 1981. They replaced Bill Ward with Vinny Appice here, who would later go on to work with Dio on his solo records and shit. He did. Yes, he did.
That's why he got getting replaced.
Vinny Appice as a drummer for Black Sabbath.
That album changed my life because I was 13 and that's the album.
That album cover's fucking cool too.
The album cover is great. The songs are great. Martin Birch produced it. He's a fucking album.
That's right. I forgot to mention Martin Birch, who also produced Iron Maiden's first record. No, he produced Killer. No, he produced.
He produced all of them after the first one.
That's what it is. Yeah, that's what it was.
But he was also doing Whitesnake at the time before Whitesnake became Harriman.
He did Machine Head.
Deep Purple, Rainbow, all that stuff.
He did Rainbow. Yeah, Martin Birch is a hell of a producer. If you're not familiar with Martin Birch, look him up. He's done some amazing records that you probably know of, but you just didn't know it was Martin Birch, which is okay because who looks up the fucking producers? Except for the people. Yeah, well, yeah.
Back then we could
Fuck me though, right?
We had album covers to look at.
Yeah,
you could read what was on there, but at the same time,
now you don't scroll by Spotify to look for the producer.
You don't have to go like this on it. But he did Louis Coke, he did Michael Schenker's Group of Self-Attack, he did Sabbath, he did all that stuff at the same time.
You know, getting off topic again, I was in a huge UFO mood the other day, and I was listening to fucking Space Child and shit. Anyway, so Mob Rules. Did you ever listen to that record?
I don't know.
No? Sign of the Southern Cross. What else is on that record?
Falling Off the Edge of the World.
Falling Off the Edge of the World.
Yeah, I'm not super familiar with Mob
You're not
Rules.
used to, you already told me you're not
Yeah.
familiar with the DO years.
Yeah.
You stayed just with Ozzy, so you're a closed-minded fuck.
Well, not necessarily. Like, I listen to other stuff. I just don't play to it
Yeah.
like I do the Ozzy.
I feel like that hit me a little bit.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean
And I love I like Heaven and Hell. I like the song Heaven and Hell specifically. You know, the album's not bad.
I think Mob Rules is good. I think
Yeah.
it's heavy.
I'm such a hipster, Frank.
It's heavier than shit.
It is so good, but like, Heaven and Hell, man.
Henry Rollins said when he wanted to piss off his neighbors in his first apartment, he used to put that album on full blast.
Who did?
Henry Rollins. He used to put Mob Rules on, put it up against the wall.
He loves
sure
Sabbath.
his neighbors.
Yeah, but Mob. If you listen to Rules.
The Black Flag, whatever.
Let's move on to Born Again, August 7th, 1983. I love that record. I love it because it has Ian Gillan from Deep Purple singing on it. And I think that's fucking cool. And it was almost. They actually received an audition tape. I feel like this is worth mentioning. They received an audition tape from Michael Bolton, actually. Who, I swear to God. And,
Sax guy. Michael Bolton.
yeah, the 80s guy.
Okay.
Office Space guy.
Michael Bolton was a hard rock singer. He played in a
was.
band called Blackjack with Bruce Kulick.
Mm-hmm.
His first two solo records were sort of AOR hard rock stuff.
Yeah.
In that Kerrang! Magazine I gave you, there was an advertisement for his hard rock album.
God,
he didn't sing all that stuff until much later.
Think about Michael Bolton singing for Sabbath for a second.
I can't.
You
I can't get my head around it.
I got some reference material to look up when I leave.
Yeah. Get me in the car.
Yeah, no, I mean,
It's like when someone told me that, and again, this might have been you, but, Jim Steinman for Meatloaf wrote Making Love Out of Nothing at All and Total Eclipse of the Heart for Meatloaf. And Meatloaf they were going through some financial trouble or some financial shit. And Meatloaf was like, I'm not going to give you my songs. And of course, it went on Being Your Supply and the other chick that's saying Total Eclipse. But could you imagine Meatloaf singing like, Making love.
Sadly, I can't.
You could.
Way more sense
You could
than
see that than Michael Bolton.
Yeah, that's a much easier
How do you
beat
think
to
Michael
make.
Bolton would sing the live shit if they went back to shit like this? Like,
He wouldn't.
you think?
There's lots of singers that suck for Black Sabbath. He just would have been the first.
Sure, yeah. Well, so another thing that I think happened that was really significant with the Born Again tour was you saw the Stonehenge props
I saw it.
that were used for This Is Spinal Tap, which I thought was really cool. And what happened during that? Because you saw that live, yes?
I saw that. Yeah, Quiet Riot was opening, and they just got the #1 album in the country.
Good God. So someone fell off the Stonehenge?
No. What happened was it was the opposite of Spinal Tap. It was too big to get into because their manager Donnal and Sharon Osbourne's father wrote down the height wrong. He said make it life size, and they made it life size. They couldn't get into most of the arenas. So I was at one where either Worcester or Providence where they did get it in. And it was the beginning of the tour. You could start the tour on the East Coast to the West Coast. So you go around the country, we're on the East Coast. So we got to see the initial stuff that they cut out later because they got flack for it, which was the Stonehenge that actually fit in the Worcester Center of the Providence Civic Center. And the album cover, which is the worst album cover I've ever seen, has a little demon baby on it.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw it at the beginning
Like
of the show.
blue and red or something?
Yeah, they played Super Czar. The song Super Czar was the intro. And lights go down, you see the Stonehenge thing, and the spotlight hits the top of the Stonehenge thing. And they had a midget dressed up in that stupid costume, crawling around on top of the Stonehenge with a spotlight on him. And they were playing baby screams through a microphone somewhere while Super Czar was playing. And it was the fucking worst, amazing thing I've ever seen.
What a great story! Like that's fucking. Could you imagine like in the
I don't
audience?
hear about that stuff like that.
They dumped it like
Yeah.
probably 6 or 7 shows.
That's crazy.
It was fantastic.
They probably did. They were just probably probably someone.
I tried to look it up and you can't find anything.
Right,
I wonder who was doing the baby voices.
A lot of this stuff.
I think they just piped it in over
Piped
there.
it
Yeah.
Like a recording.
Yeah.
Born Again. That's one of your. That's.
I never realized then that Nigel's mistake of writing inches instead of feet for Stonehenge from Spinal Tap was a hook at that.
Yeah, that was a rib
Too
on that.
big,
Yeah,
or
they're all-
Nigel's was.
They were all based on real stories, like Angel, the band. Remember the band Angel?
Yeah.
They used to come out of pods when they were in
When
pods.
Derek
And
yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Danny made that joke to me earlier because I just got a fog machine, and he was like, "When we all come out of the pods, I don't want to be the one to get stuck." And I didn't get it. I didn't get it at first because I was doing something, and I was like, "Oh, motherfucker, no!" If you haven't seen This Is Spinal Tap, go watch it.
Yeah.
The record is fantastic. Oh God, the record is
If you
fantastic.
haven't seen This Is Spinal Tap, you shouldn't be watching this.
That's
Yeah.
Well, tell them that. I don't have many viewers as it is.
That's
No, I'm
required.
just saying.
No, I
like,
agree,
it's-
I agree.
That's like a standard issue.
Like a prereq.
Metal
Prereq,
shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to one of my favorite records that is very underrated, but it's one of my favorites. Seventh Star drops January 28, 1986. Glenn Hughes is singing on this thing. Eric Singer is drumming on it, and fucking Dan Spitz is playing on it with Tony Iommi.
So
of
Tony
course.
is the only
But it's
Yes.
a solo
real
album.
singer.
It's a solo album, but it's considered.
It was called Black Sabbath after it was done.
Right.
He originally wanted Graham Bonnet to sing it because
Yeah,
people asked Graham Bonnet if he was asked.
Graham Bonnet would have been great too.
He was, but he was asked if he was asked to join Black
Was he
Sabbath.
doing Alcatraz at the time?
He was doing Alcatraz. at the
Right.
time.
Alcatraz
But
is
he
a great
asked him
band.
first to do it, and then when they wanted to call it, he said he was asked to join Black Sabbath, but he wasn't. He was asked to join.
Fucking,
Black
I
Sabbath.
love Glenn Hughes on this record. I really do.
He's fantastic.
Eric Singer, this was obviously before he was in Kiss. He's well known for being in Kiss.
Yeah.
Who was Eric Carr was the drummer in
In
Kiss,
Kiss,
right? And he died, and then Eric Singer drummed in Kiss, right?
Yeah.
And then how it went? Okay, want to make sure. I don't know too much about Kiss, so anyway.
Eric was dying of cancer when they got Eric Singer in the band, which tells you a lot about Gene Simmons. If you didn't already know a lot about Gene.
He probably did. He try to. Do you think he tried
He
to?
tried to take his health insurance away. He died of cancer. I'm not kidding.
I believe you. I believe you. I think it's something notable here. I'm surprised you wouldn't try to go see this tour in '86.
I did.
Did you see it?
I did.
Did you see Wasp and Anthrax open
I
up?
saw Anthrax.
You didn't see Wasp?
They weren't playing that show.
I would have
I
loved
saw Wasp at
Wasp
different
and
times.
Anthrax opening up for.
I'd seen Wasp, but not them. I saw Wasp open
God,
for Kiss.
that'd have been great.
Anthrax was great, and it was Glenn Hughes' last show. Before they
Right.
were kicked out in the hotel in Worcester after that.
Right.
At the sound check to the show I went to is when they auditioned Ray Gillen at sound check. So he was already there.
Oh, okay.
Glenn getting kicked out. So I saw his last show. It was fucking horrible. He was enormous. He had this big fucking trench coat to try and hide his weight. You can almost hear the stage bounding.
Did he have the mini afro?
He had the mullet.
The mullet. He had the mullet.
And he was doing a lot of coke at the time, so God bless
Sure.
him. He had blown his throat out and stuff like that.
Sure.
He wasn't a front man. He didn't
But
know
like
what to do with
Glenn
that big.
Hughes was so good. He was good on the record too.
It was a great record.
And he's
but it's not a
great
good
on
sound
Deep
album.
Purple shit. I mean, Seventh Star.
Black
or,
Country
excuse
Community.
me,
If you know, Black Country Community is a fucking great.
yeah, I think Seventh Star is a great record. If you haven't heard it, please go look it up. It is technically a Iommi solo record, but
It's
it's
a great
a
album.
Black Sabbath record in my.
Featuring
in my
Tony
opinion.
Only is Black Sabbath.
Yeah, well, you
It would have been a great album cover if they didn't stick his face on it. Look at the back of it.
Yeah.
What it would have been.
Let's talk a little bit on this tour here because do you think there would have been anyone else in '86? I'm going to gauge the room here. Anyone in '86 that would have been maybe a better choice to open up for Sabbath at the time? Taylor, I'll start with you.
Rather than
Wasp and Anthrax.
Wasp and Anthrax.
I think
in '86.
'86.
I have to agree.
Really?
I was thinking the
Yeah.
same thing. Or even like
They
a
opened for
Cohen
Ozzy
line
in
tour.
'86.
But I mean, you can't
Yeah.
go
I saw
Black
that too.
Sabbath.
Damn, yeah,
Yeah.
that'd have been good.
Yeah.
Now, who were the four bass players? No, I'm just kidding.
That would have been solid.
That would have been good,
man.
yeah. That's so. I guess between '86 and '87. But yes, Metallica, I could totally see.
That would've been-
Edward, you got any thoughts?
Actually, Metallica is probably like the most solid choice.
Sabbath.
Right. At that point, they're almost nostalgia.
Damn.
So it's like Sabbath is,
Let's
10 years later.
move on this a little bit further. If you could pick one jam song that Metallica and Sabbath would do together, what would you think would sound fantastic? I know we've kind of seen that before.
Supernaut.
I mean, at the time.
Supernaut. Yeah.
They played that with Ian Gillan.
Yeah.
That did a great job on that.
Yeah.
He was a drummer for Yellow 12 at the time. I'd say Something in the Universe would be good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'd like to see Lars play that.
I'm gonna go classic. I would like to see Cliff do NIV. I mean,
Mhm.
You
I'd
mentioned
like-
Dead Guys, I'd do that too.
I mean, yeah.
Oh yeah, man. Cliff doing NIV, that would have been.
I think he would have sped it up, and he would have added his own little take. I think that would have been fucking great. And that's me going very classic. I mean, during that time, they weren't playing shit like that, but I'm just saying, I
We
mean,
should have though.
yeah. Taylor, any thoughts?
I don't know. That's tough.
I mean, I couldn't picture
can't.
James singing like War Pig. Right?
No, I
I
can't really see other than.
The problem.
I mean, if you're breaking it down to Ozzy and James, like I can't really see other than singing.
You couldn't see Ozzy
I
singing
can see
Master
Iommi and
Puppets.
Kirk. Yeah, I can see Iommi and Kirk fucking trading lyrics, but
Yeah.
what? Fuck it, just do Under Pressure. Ozzy and James Hetfield. Let's go.
Fine, fuck it. Yeah, I like it. The next record we want to talk about because they got a new lead singer at this time. One of my favorites, very underrated. They got the Eternal Idol, came out November 8th, 1987. Mr. Tony Martin singing for this band.
Is this number 6 now? 5 or 6? I never realized they had so many.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're on 5.
Into the 80s, yeah. There was.
You'd be on 6. You'd be on 6 because Ray Gillen did replace Clint. He was on tour.
Oh, I think you meant albums. I'm
No,
sorry.
he
No,
did
it's
record.
That's like 15
Yeah.
albums.
Ray Gillen
Yeah.
did record the
Oh,
original.
I talk about from the Dio years.
I had to be on it like before, just right now. I just thought it was Ozzy and Dio.
Yeah, I knew
didn't
Tony
know
Martin.
I didn't
and
know Michael Bolton was in the mix.
Well, he didn't sing for him. He got an audition day. But Tony Martin, if you haven't listened to any Tony Martin like doing Sabbath, it's really good shit. I think he's very underrated. Jordan and I were talking about this when you guys came over.
some Tony Martin Sabbath.
I think it's fantastic. I mean, the Eternal Idol is not a strong record, but I think it's really good.
To Cross Purposes.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Or
Yes.
Skeleton Man on it.
Yep. We're gonna move on here, but these next 2 records are not very good. They don't get very good marks. Headless Cross, April 24th, 1989. Cozy Powell is actually their drummer. Decent drummer. We're gonna move on to TYR. Tier, is that what it is? Okay.
I think.
August 20th, 1990. This record drops 1990 when, I mean...
Record coming out in 1990.
Well, I say record, but it's probably just a fucking...
It was a video, really.
It was a video, yeah, I guess. TYR. You know, after listening to this record, because I had never heard this one or Headless Cross, I can understand why they're in their rut listening to these. Then we get to 1992, which I think is Sabbath's heaviest record, in my personal opinion. Dehumanizer, Dio, and Vinny Appice come back. 1992, this drops June 22nd. Geezer also comes back as well. Very heavy record. What can you tell me about Dehumanizer?
Dehumanizer, it's a good record.
I fucking love this. It's so heavy. Have you guys listened to it by any chance?
I can't, but honestly, with just the shape of the 90s and heavy metal, like it going heavier makes sense.
I agree. Because, I mean, who'd you have? You had Pantera, dropped Cowboys from Hell in that same year.
Probably 92, yeah.
Yeah.
Thrash is hitting its heyday, you know.
Yeah, unfortunately. I mean, and what, you got Maiden dropped Fear the Dark in 92, Countdown to Extinction 92.
Does Meshuggah go that far back? No,
Meshuggah goes that far back.
But I don't think, did they drop anything in 92? I don't think so.
I don't know if they did that year, but Meshuggah was around.
Yeah,
they started around like late
Yes, all the grunge was
Grunge.
around, you know, and all that. So
Yeah.
making it heavy, you're absolutely right. Makes
That's-
perfect sense. Oh, well, the Black Album just came out in 91, so I mean...
Well, that's not a metal album. You really want to get down to it.
My man. But what about, like, A Wolf and Man? I don't want to hear it. Like,
yeah.
anyway, we're going to be on that episode. I'm going to have to get a big panel for the Metallica episode. Fucking A.
Yeah.
Guys, I've had a lot of fun doing this, so thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. So, Dehumanizer, heavy record. I love this record.
Produced by Mac from Queen. He did Queen's album.
I didn't know that.
And Cozy Powell was the drummer in that. Supposed to be the
Right.
drummer. Wound up getting
I skipped right past it.
fell off a horse and broke his hips. Him and Dio never liked each other from the Rainbow stuff. Cozy hated Dio. He hated all the singers he had.
Why did he hate Dio?
No, he didn't like his voice. He didn't like the lyrics and stuff like that. But when he joined Michael Strick, he didn't like Gary Barden. He had him kicked out to get Graham Bonnet.
Right.
And
Yeah.
nobody liked Tony Martin, but he liked Tony Martin. He got him in his band after he got kicked out of Sabbath.
All the politics in bands kill me.
Yeah, right.
Just
Yeah.
everybody being so critical.
Yeah. Cross Purposes came out January 31st, 1994. 1944. In 1994. Again, we're going back to Tony Martin now. Dio is gone. The last record that we get for a long time, Forbidden, June 20th, 1995. Last record with Tony Martin. The last record with Sabbath that we're going to get for a long time. I think it's...
They end up going on a reunion tour after that.
They do. I think it's... I gotta talk about this. There's a song on there called Illusion of Power with Ice-T.
Yep.
It's almost
The
like
rap-
Ramone's rap career.
I guess, like with the rap metal shit, you know, Anthrax and Public Enemy, you know, Aerosmith and fucking Run, which was way before this, but
Right.
I'm just saying, you know, I mean, was that necessary doing that with Ice-T? Were they just trying to get over?
I can't
That's it.
comment.
They were trying to get over?
Everyone was doing that. Anytime they changed their sound, it was because they were trying to do something that was going on.
Have you heard it?
I heard that.
It's not very
It
good.
didn't turn me off for the rest of it.
I-
I wasn't
yeah.
a fan by that point. I wasn't a fan.
You weren't a fan?
Not what they were doing, no.
Probably why they brought back Ozzy for a reunion.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna get on to we're gonna start narrowing it down to the final spots of this segment of Black Sabbath. Again, I think we've done a good job at covering the history of Black Sabbath. We've told some great stories, but even before 13, we got something else to touch on, and that is Heaven and Hell
Okay.
with Dio, Apathy, Geezer, and Iommi, which I happen to have right here. The Devil You Know. Great fucking record. This record is unbelievable. 2009 it drops. 2009. They dropped 2 live records, and then of course we lost Dio in 2010.
They had 3 songs on the Dio years, so.
Yes, they did. And this record was just fantastic. I love it so much. Huh?
Great album.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Double the Pain, our Bible Black, Turn of the Screw, Rock and Roll Angel, Eating the Cannibals. I mean, this is good shit.
The last song, Breaking Into Heaven, is my favorite one that he wrote in a long time. I think it's very fitting that that's the last song
Yeah.
I heard from him before he died. And I saw that tour with Megadeth opening up.
Oh,
That was the
God,
last
so
show I
good.
saw.
2009, huh?
Gracious.
Yeah. So Heaven and Hell drops. They do a couple live. Like I said, they do 2 live records. They do 1 tour. They do 2 tours.
2.
They do 2 tours. Is it 2 legs or is it 2?
One came after the Dio years, and then the one I saw was
Right.
the-
Okay. That's right. They did Dio years. That's right. Because they dropped a CD, the Dio years, right? That's right. By this time, Sabbath has pretty much been faded away until we get the 13 record, which is their 13th record with Ozzy. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay. The final Sabbath record.
Yes, they included live albums in that.
Well, yeah, we don't have him. Do
I
they?
guess, because
They might.
it's like 8 with the original lineup. 70
Maybe they have to record, put in live records. I guess.
I'm curious what they included in that when they're talking about 13 though. 'Cause
I always heard it was their 13th record.
I mean, it came out in 2013 as
Maybe
well.
it was their 13th bump, and then they made
I really have no idea. That's kind
Another
of
fun
curious.
thing, wasn't that released on like Friday the 13th?
It was.
This was,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, yeah.
Homage to that. I mean, it
Maybe,
goes
yeah,
a
that's a good
bunch of
point.
things.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
13 Sabbath kind of a fucking thing, I guess.
13 comes out in 2013, I believe,
I think so.
as well. Yeah, that's what it is. They do a farewell tour, The End, which grosses $84.8 million. Whew. Wow.
That just ended like this year.
Yeah, it did, and it was fantastic. Of course, original lineup minus Bill Ward. They actually got Tony, I'm going to butcher his last name, Clufertos. He played drums for Ted Nugent. I know he played for Rob Zombie, and he played for someone else. I think I wrote it down here. Alice Cooper, that's what it was. Either way, great tour that they did. They played a lot of deep cuts in that end tour, which was fantastic. And I give,
They had a lot of cool medleys.
they really did.
Those
Really
stuff
good
Ozzy-
shit.
Not that he couldn't sing, but wasn't singing. For him to get the wrist in there, they did a lot of cool medleys with that stuff.
Guys, we've just pretty much gone over the history of Black Sabbath in a Cliff Notes version in about an hour. I want to thank you guys for joining us. That was fucking great. I want to get to the beef of this fucking interview, or this table of metal real quick. I want to ask the question, and I'm going to go straight to Taylor. Does this record hold up today in these metal times? Taylor, I'm waiting for your answer.
No, it doesn't.
It does not. Why?
Its reach isn't far enough. In 1970, yeah, it was a powerhouse, and you can't deny its legacy. But I think as far as its influence, it's not relevant today.
Really? Use that word "not relevant" with Sabbath, though.
I mean, as an influence for a lot of metal that comes out now, and maybe it's just my particular interest in metal. There's not an influence in it.
Okay.
A lot of sludgy, like stoner metal stuff. Yeah, I can
Yeah.
see that, but
And
that's,
see, I'm not even a fan of Stone.
but that's not my.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of
that's
stoner
not
metal.
my
Like,
cup of
what-
tea.
No, what is it? Jason loves them. Crew?
Yeah, Jason. I don't know.
Kyrus?
That's a band.
Caius.
Yeah,
I
but
don't
all
know.
that like
Jason loves them some Caius.
doom, sludgy, stoner metal stuff. I
Even
can see the influence there, but for me, even that new stuff is sort of stuck in time, where you listen to a band like Between the Buried and Me, that's really progressive not progressive as in prog rock, but
Right.
progressive as in terms of their style.
Sure.
It's got nothing to do with this.
Do you?
And I even listened to this today
to see if
to get a fresh impression of it, because I've been writing on this for years. It's like, oh, I don't care for Black Sabbath. It's not. And you know, my first impression of it today, and all I heard was Led Zeppelin.
really.
Yep.
Even when you pick out those riffs, between like Sleeping Village and fucking like Behind the Wall of Sleep and things like that, like.
I'm not denying that the songwriting is great, the performances are great, but what hit me really hard today was, okay, this was 1970, Zeppelin 3 came out in 1970. Iommi is riding Jimmy Page's dick hard.
Do you think that? Do you keep that statement
almost
for
more than
all of
than
Sabbath, or
Zeppelin.
just this record?
That one in particular, but I think it does carry on, and I think Zeppelin had enough. I don't know how to say. They were interesting enough to me to carry on, to be very relevant today. Where I think Sabbath kind of falls flat on 2018 years. For me, that's my opinion.
Okay.
I know no one at this table agrees with me.
I mean, I can agree with you in a sense that like it doesn't. I think it still holds the test of time. In
I
my
think if
opinion.
this came out right now, I don't. Do you think it would do well?
If Beatles Abbey Road came out right now, would it do well? I think it's a lot of those things that they just. And I'm not making excuses like, you know, they didn't have the technology back then or anything like that. But I'm just saying, if a lot of those, if the first Stones record came out nowadays, or if November's Children came out nowadays, I don't think it would do well either. It's just, and another thing too, we're so spoiled, we're so jaded with music nowadays. We have to have some of it, you know, some minds have to have certain things and certain songs, or it's not perfect and they don't like it. You know, do I think if this were to come out nowadays, would it have been as a big deal? Probably not.
Would they be? They wouldn't be, you know, touring arenas.
No.
But, you know, within its own context of 1970, 1969, would, you know, knock most people flat on their asses when, you know, fucking ABBA or whatever's on the radio and this comes out. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. I appreciate it. I respect it. It's not, you know. It doesn't hold up.
And you feel that with the Dio years too and all that? Like all Black Sabbath? I'm just making sure I understand.
It just encompasses all of it.
Okay.
It doesn't, it's not my thing.
I can respect
I can
that.
appreciate it and respect it a great deal.
You can at least
Does that
admit that
mean-
back in the day it was a big fucking deal, but just now.
Oh, absolutely.
Let
That
me ask
doesn't mean that.
Let me ask you this, and then we'll move on. What year do you think that this became irrelevant? If you could nail down a year. Right when Metallica dropped. No, I'm kidding.
Actually, I would say that is pretty relevant. Basically, whenever metal got sped up, whenever thrash metal started coming in.
81, maybe?
Yeah,
Listen up.
80?
Because the slow and sludgy stuff was just the evil. It was dark, it was heavy, and then people just were like, hey, I
Yeah.
can speed this up, and it's still just as dark and heavy. It's just faster.
Well,
It's
see,
more
I mean,
complex to
that's
play.
You look at like Deep Purple shit. I mean,
Yeah.
they were speeding it up, which goes to my argument that there's a huge argument to who is. I mean, Black Sabbath is the true innovators of heavy metal. I will go down on my grave to believe that. But does that one Deep Purple, Speed King, fucking In Rock?
They all have their own influence.
The argument I was getting at
Uh-huh.
was this album wouldn't have been around if it wasn't for Led Zeppelin.
Really? You think that?
I think
I
there's
would make
almost
that
a totally
whole
different
different
fan base for the two, though.
Different fan base.
Two different.
Sure.
But and they were good friends too. That's
Robert
the thing.
Plant
too.
was singing about Lord of the Rings. Ozzy was singing about the devil. Fine. Different fan base, different ideas. But I don't think
That would have been
that
if it
would
wasn't for Led
exist
Zeppelin.
without Led Zeppelin.
Damn.
Honestly, I think the
I
European
don't think a lot of
crowds
metal would
reacted
exist
more
without
to the
Led
Black
Zeppelin.
Sabbath, and the American crowds reacted more to Led Zeppelin. I think Black
Yeah.
Sabbath was like pretty much a UK keystone for them to explore onto that. So
I see that.
they basically were the starting point of that whole family tree of metal, and then it just branched
I'll give
out.
them that. And I know, I mean, Zeppelin was obviously more accessible worldwide, but just as a band. I mean, but yeah, I think a lot, you say the metal family tree, a lot started with that, but that started with
Zeppelin. Do you think that any, just a smidge of it started with maybe Deep Purple?
Oh,
Because
sure.
I think there's a huge,
more
than, in my opinion, more than Zeppelin, there's an argument between Sabbath and Deep Purple.
I think you go back further than like I was saying, like with Cream and like stuff like that.
Yeah.
I could, I could
it's
agree
similar,
with
just
that.
like NIB, like it's
Yeah.
the same kind of thing, completely different ballpark, same kind of thing, because they're influenced by all the old blues and stuff as well.
Frank,
All that stuff.
you've been quiet through this talk here. Does this stand the test of
I've just
time?
been waiting on him to hit me.
No, he ain't gonna hit you. He ain't gonna hit you. He's a drummer, but.
I'm too old to hit anyone right now. It's in my blood, so it's hard for me to be. It's hard for me to look at it from the outside. If this came out today, I might not like it. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's in my blood. I've loved it my whole life. So I mean, that's just most music that I listen to. Maybe I wouldn't like if it came out today, but it's in there. It's in my
But
DNA.
and that's everyone's experience with everything.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, it's
I can agree.
nostalgia to a point, and it's.
But you have to realize if it's any good. You go watch like old TV shows, like, what the fuck did I watch this? You know?
Well, we're all, conscious of, some of our favorite records. If we heard them today, maybe we wouldn't hold up. But I heard it when I was 18, and it fucking did change my life.
Well, guys, we're going to start to wrap this up right here. I'm going to go around the table. Favorite Black Sabbath song, and we're going to go favorite lineup. All right? I was going to say record, but there's too many. So we'll do lineup, favorite song. Dylan.
I mean, line up Ozzy all day. Favorite song? That's like one of the hardest questions you've asked me. Right now, I'm really loving Behind the Wall of Sleep. That's one of my. I'm loving that.
You have a different song every day.
Yeah,
Sabbath.
exactly.
Yeah, I understand. Edward?
I'm going to go with Ozzy as well, and I think Sweet Leaf is just completely over.
That's good shit.
Sorry, this light up my job at work.
Oh.
Sometimes it'll come on the thing.
I will tell a quick story. I bought a record. I have to tell you this story to tell you the story about Sweet Leaf, but I bought Some Girls by Rolling Stones from Cat's Music, actually. Billy, I love you. And I was doing the dishes and listening to the record, and during Beast of Burden, Mick Jagger says, pretty, 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 such a pretty girl, whatever. Well, the record was skipping, and it was on the pretty, 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 pretty. And I'm like, this supposed to be the fucking long version. And I go there, and the record's skipping. So, the next day, I took it back, and I got another Some Girls, and I actually bought fucking Master Reality. And I was like, oh, well, I'm here, I'll get that. I come back, I put the record on. I'm like, fucking, again? Da-na-da. I'm like, oh, that's part of the song. All right. Anyway, that's my Sweet Leaf story. Taylor, favorite song, lineup?
I'm not equipped to answer that. I'd say Ozzy just because that's what I know.
Can you say Iron Man because you wanted to play that?
I don't really like the song. I'd say Sweet Leaf too, actually.
Okay.
I mean, it's a great tune.
Frank, favorite song, lineup?
I love both those lineups. I can't answer that, but my favorite Ozzy era song is Megalomania from Sabotage. My favorite Dio era song is actually Ear in the Wall from the compilation. Yes. It's very H.P. Lovecraft. Nobody knows it.
Nobody knows that song.
So,
If I were to
listen to it.
Yeah, if I were to answer that, I would say my favorite. I'm going to say Ozzy and Dio too. Since you did it, I'm doing it too.
I cheated.
It's okay. Probably my favorite lineup is actually it's Dio and Appice.
Yeah.
I love Appice. I don't know why, and I don't love him more than Bill Ward. It's just I love Vinny Appice. He's so good. Or Vinny Appice, whoever. Whatever. But anyway, so coming from Ozzy standpoint, definitely National Acrobat. Coming from Dio, fucking off Dehumanizer.
Yeah, that's a great
that song, that song is so good. Anyway, guys, thank you guys for joining us so much. I really appreciate it. Again, Frank O'Donnell from the Gutter, former drummer for the Gutter Saints, Taylor Jenkins from Hearts on Fire, Edward here from We as a Species. God, why can't I always... Even during the live video that I took, I was like, We Species, We as... Fuck, I'm gonna have to... He's going to think I'm an asshole. We as a Species, awesome metal band from Columbia, and of course, Mr. Dylan Wood from right here in Derpot. Serpent King coming out here pretty soon, July 27th.
Yes, sir.
How can I remember that, but I couldn't remember. He's going to think I'm a dick. Anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for joining us again. This has been Table of Metal. Thank you so much for joining us. And again, I'm PJ Steven from Metal for Metal, and we'll see you guys next time. fun. Now let's see how long that was.
That was
I gotta say,
good.
just over an hour.
Oh, I gotta
Yeah.
stand for
1 hour
that.
and 10 minutes.
Yeah, bonus material.
That was fun, guys.
That was fun.
That was cool.
I really appreciate you guys joining me.
Thank you.